Good evening. Welcome to the February 16th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Matt McNamara. I'd like to introduce the board to you. To my right is Dennis Murphy, who is the vice chairman of the board. To his right is Patty Johnson, who is an associate member of the board. To my left is Patricia Favuli, who is the clerk of the board. To her left is Scott Zielinski, who's a voting member of the board. And to his left is David Haddad, who is our newest member, who was recently appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And he is an associate, and welcome, David, to the board. This evening, we have one continuation, and then we have three new public hearings, and we have a couple of items on our open agenda at the end of the hearing. I think most of you may be familiar, but just to go over our hearing process, we're here tonight to gather evidence through testimony. We will ask that if anyone has a cell phone or an electronic device, if they'd silence it now, and that I just ask for your courtesy as we go through the evening, and because if I've recognized somebody to come to the lectern, we want to give them all the attention to be heard. As we go through the process, we're going to ask for public input for those that might be opposed to an application, those that might be in favor of an application, or those that might just have some questions or concerns about an application. So with that, we're going to move into our continuation, which is for Eric Gurr at 10 Middle Street in Woods Hole, application 100-11. This application has already this hearing has already been started on January 19th, and it was continued to this evening. We had asked for some additional information, and so with that, I'd ask Bill. I'm sorry? Oh, forgive me. The voting members on this will be myself, Dennis Murphy, Tricia Favuli, and Scott Zielinski. Just four of us, because those are the ones that were here for the last hearing. So, Bill, why don't you introduce yourself for the record and give us an update on those things that we had asked you for.
Bill Roslansky, representing Eric Gurr. The first thing that you asked before was a study of density comparable properties in this area, and I submitted copies of this. You can quickly see that Mr. Gurr's property is at the epicenter of density in this particular part of the neighborhood. And you should note that on that chart, the only ones that, in that whole neighborhood, that are blackened in are the only ones that are more dense than 20% in terms of lot coverage by buildings. So he's right in the thick of it. Buildings are close together as a result in that area. But he's certainly not the farthest over. Here's one of his neighbors has got 30% coverage by buildings. And another neighbor has 28%. So he will be hopefully at 25. I talked to Eladio about chicken coops. Are they part of lot coverage? The answer was no. Like dog kennels, chicken coops are not part of lot coverage. That particular chicken coop is based on a sheet of plywood. It's 4 feet by 8 feet, and it's up on hunks of wood so that the chickens aren't right on the ground. And it's big enough to stand in so you can gather the eggs. But not part of lot coverage, according to Mr. Gore. I didn't get a letter from him. If you want one, I can go back. Then we get to the part about lot coverage and the front steps. And the building code has evolved over the last number of years, and you're required to have a 3-foot, basically 3-foot by 3-foot landing on either side of an egress door. You have to have 2 means of egress. And if we consider the front door a means of egress, which would be a likely event, then we need to have a 3-foot by 3-foot platform in front of the house. So our front yard setback would diminish. Our existing front yard setback is about 5.1 feet now, And we would need an additional 1.6 or something like that to get that 3-foot platform in front of the house. So that's one solution. That's the one I would like the most, because I would like the front of the house to look like it's the way into the house. But it does mean that we're getting the edge of that platform. Right now, there's 2 steps in front of the house which stick out about 1.7 feet. The edge of the platform would stick out 3 feet, and we would be that much closer to the street. This is kind of a new issue because of the changes in the building code and the requirement to have a platform on both sides of an egress door. We can also solve this problem by bringing the grade up in front of the house more, putting in a different kind of foundation that allows you to step right out onto grade. So if it's an issue that you don't want us to be close to the street, we can also just pile up the dirt and put a different style of foundation, which is called a punch foundation. So it's kind of up to you which one you choose. So that if we put a 3-foot by 3-foot platform in front of the front door, and we have 2 other ways out, we can put a 2-foot by 3-foot platform going out of the back door, because it's not a required means of egress. That'll give us 15 square feet more lot coverage. And we have 15.26 feet before we get to 25%. I didn't redo the site plan yet because I didn't know which way you wanted us to go with it. We can go either way you want to. Raise the dirt in front of the house or have a 3-by-3 platform. But maybe you would condition it that we don't go over 25%. And that we give you a site plan which shows that. And I think that's just, those are the 3 issues that you wanted more info on.
Okay. Let's see if there are any new information, and then I'm sure there'll be some questions. And Erica, there you are. Thank you. All right, I'll just ask the clerk to update us on anything new in the file.
The only thing new in here is just some information from the health agent regarding chicken coops and some really cute pictures of some chickens and the chicken coop. But other than that, there's nothing new.
Okay. So, questions for Bill? Oh, yes.
Before the board entertains what Mr. Oslansky was saying, if the board does entertain the idea of the added front, that would be a variance, and it has not been applied for. So it's up to the board.
Do you understand what Surya is saying, Bill?
I do.
Yeah. And there's a whole set of criteria, as you know, for a variance that you haven't brought into us at the hearing at this point.
And I can't imagine that someone would get a variance for something like that when they can simply pile up more dirt in front of the house and make a slightly different foundation. So we're going to not have a stoop in front of the house, and we'll bring the grade up another 8 inches.
All right. Let's see if there are any questions, okay? Dennis?
Bill, you said all egresses need 3-by-3, but then you said the back egress could be 2-by-3?
So there's 3 ways out of the building. There's a side door, a back door, and a front door, and you only need 2. So one of them you can decide not to have it comply with the requirements for egress.
And to make the front step and still hit your, and not extend the non-conforming.
I can go back and ask Eladio whether he would go along with that, but I still can't put a platform in front of that door, so I still have to raise the grade there, so it might as well be egress.
But if you already have, and I'm not trying to redesign your site here, but if you can hit 3-by-3 elsewhere at the other 2 forms of egress,
Yep.
and then do what you want with the front step, without having to ask us to approve a variance, that would certainly...
What we're saying, we wouldn't, Bill was actually saying he wouldn't come for a variance because he wouldn't meet the criteria, so that's not even on the table.
It's a building code issue as to,
Yeah.
and Eladio determines what the points of egress would be.
That was my only question.
Tricia?
No, I think I understand what Bill's trying to do.
Scott?
Hi, Bill. On earlier testimony, I had asked you a question about, you had testified that you were building a wall within a wall on the first floor, on the first floor elevation. Could you be a little more specific with how that's done? And
Yeah.
I'm talking about above the sill.
So what we're going to do is make a foundation which is bigger, 6 inches larger than the house on all 4 sides. Right now, the walls are like this thick, whatever's in them. What we want to do is add the 6 inches so we can put all of our required insulation outside of that original structure. So we just make the foundation bigger, the floor gets framed, reframed bigger, so the old house is just kind of sitting there, kind of lonesome on this slightly bigger floor deck. Then you put the walls up around it.
Now,
Your second floor
now,
above it.
would you gut the inside walls after the outside walls are constructed?
Well, if we do that,
Because it'll be a 10-inch wall now. If you get a 6-inch new wall and a whatever, 4-inch interior wall, then you're going to have 10 inches of wall on that new foundation, right?
except that the interior walls are more like 2 inches. The exterior walls are like 2 inches thick right now.
I guess my question is, what happens to that interior 2-inch wall after the new wall is built on the outside of this house?
We'll probably, if we do that, we'll probably save most of them, but in some places, if they're really badly deteriorated, we'll just take them out and throw them away. And it's possible that we'll discover that this house is just crazy to try to save it, in which case the new house will just end up being 6 inches bigger on all four sides.
All the way around.
Of the existing house, and we'll just abandon the nostalgic notion of trying to save this house, which is, which is hundreds of years old.
So you don't anticipate the square footage of this house changing as this construction takes place?
No. We'll just, if we decide to go all new, we'll just take the approved footprint and make it all new.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome. Bill, if I can follow up on that. Generally, when we've had a situation where it's raise and reconstruct or, modify, we try to get some kind of structural engineering review. Have you done that at all?
Yeah.
And what are they saying? Because you have to jack this up if you're going to put a foundation around it, right? Will this building survive?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we might just, as we get closer into it, we might discover that there's enough deteriorated pieces there that it's just silly.
But the structural engineer has looked at this and said, yes, this proposal makes some sense.
Well, that's me. I'm a registered architect, and I'm licensed and capable of making those assessments. And
Okay.
that's what the new framing plans reflect.
All right. So did you have any questions on that piece of it at all? Okay.
Not if he's got the certification to make that judgment, I don't.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you do have the structural engineering capacity to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what architects are.
Okay, just want to make sure we have that for the record.
To do, yeah.
And
That
before-
was what I wanted to clear up, too.
Okay. And Eric, if I could ask you a question. I'd asked it of Bill last time, and I know we went quite late the night that you were here, and I know you had to leave. But I was going back through I think it was 2005 special permit that talked about the house being renovated, giving you the opportunity to have the bedroom and the garage. Your testimony at that time was that when you were through with the renovations of the house, there would be no bedroom in the garage, and that all of the bedrooms would be back in the main house. And that's obviously changed now, because this proposal has 2 bedrooms in the main house and a bedroom in the garage.
So that was contingent on satisfying the health department's requirement at the time to keep the bedrooms of the property to 3.
Right.
And if I was to exercise the option to put a detached bedroom there, I would have to, as I did, remove that wall in the main house to ensure that there are only 2 proper bedrooms in the main house.
Right.
Based on the plan at the time with the health department. If I wanted to go down that road, I would have to satisfy the health department's requirements. I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, but I exercised that option.
Right. No, I understand the health department in terms of the 3 bedrooms, but it was actually before this board, in terms of getting the special permit, that you said there will be no bedrooms in the garage. It wasn't a Board of Health issue. So that's what...
And my understanding was it wasn't to be there unless I was to be approved by the Board of Health.
I'm just telling you what's written
Yeah.
in our document that's in the file. Okay, so you're saying that it's your preference not to have the bedroom in the main house, or?
I mean, right now, the way I've got it divvied up with these plans, it's 2 and 1.
Okay, all right. Eric, do you have any plans on renting the garage?
Only myself. I mean, it's my spot.
But you're not having any plans to rent it?
No, no.
Okay, and there are no plans to have kitchen in that
As
garage?
for the original permit, no.
No plan to use it as a second dwelling on the property?
No.
Okay, all right. And then the final question is, did you see the memorandum from the health department?
I did, I spoke with Dave.
About, rodent control, et cetera?
Yeah.
And so you're aware of the requirements and the conditions on that as well?
Yeah, it's a long-standing problem there.
Okay, yeah. All right, I don't have any other questions. Anyone else? Sari? Okay. We did get testimony from the audience last time, but if there's anything new that anyone wants to raise based on the new information that we have? Okay. All right, so we'll bring it back to the board. Let's see, first of all, if the board has enough information to move forward with making a decision.
Question.
Yep.
We have to modify the prior decision because of that bedroom situation?
I'm sorry?
Do we have to modify the prior decision because of that?
You make a finding.
On that, right?
If you do approve this as a 2-bedroom, then you're modifying that special permit. It would be a finding to allow that bedroom to
bedroom in
remain
the-
there on certain conditions.
Right, okay. Thank you, sir.
One other quick question.
I have one too,
Bill.
Mr.
I apologize. I was thinking, we've played around with the lot coverage just for a second. What's your final number now, knowing that you're not going to put a step on the front and that the coop is not counted in the lot coverage? What's the final number? The last number we had was 24.84, and then there was some discussion whether or not the coop would be part of it and whether or not the front step or stoop would be, so.
Roughly halfway between 24.84 and 25, so whatever that is.
Okay.
The basement, is that going to be a finished basement?
No, not for foreseeable future. 24.92, very
Thank you.
approximately.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
All right, board have enough information? Ready to close?
If we're that close, is approximate good enough? I'm not used to hearing approximate when we're
The
really
board
pushing
can
up
make a
against
condition if
25.
you approve this, that it not exceed 24.94 or 25%, whatever you like, because he did use approximation. Or you can condition it less, it's up to you.
And certainly, you're that close to it, you may want an as-built as well.
I don't see how we can get away without having an as-built.
No.
That's right, so that may provide you a little bit of comfort there. Enough information? If not, speak up.
I have a question.
Okay?
I'm having a hard time with the floating construction part of this, that we may be doing this or may not be doing this, or if we find this is wrong, we're going to change it. Once this is settled and conditioned, what's the process after that if it decides that the house isn't worth saving?
Well, if it were to be a tear down, a raise and reconstruct, we've had that situation before, and they would have to come back. Sorry?
You may want to get clarification from Bill, because the way I understood it, he will be keeping those outside walls and demolishing the inside, and that's the plan that you are approving, unless that front wall, because you can always reconstruct the upstairs, unless that front wall is not, it appears to be the same. So you might want to get clarification on that from Mr., you didn't close the hearing, right?
No.
Yeah, because that's what I understood, that those walls that they're going to construct in order to put insulation in between is going to stay, and then the inside would be demolished if it's not withstanding. So you might want to get that.
Why don't you speak to that, Bill?
So clarification, I think that what we're asking for is raise and reconstruct. If we end up saving the original structure
We're talking about-
within
It's
that,
totally different.
It's
is that
different.
totally different? So
Then you would have to come back to this board for a raise and reconstruct if that doesn't work. Because what you applied for is to construct these walls to stabilize the dwelling in order to put insulation and protect it a little bit more. And that's why Matt asked you about the structural engineering process of it, because if it's found that you then have to demolish it, at that point you would have to come back to this board, because a raise and reconstruct is different than this renovation.
And one of the main reasons it's different, Bill, is that there was a little bit of a question at the last hearing about, if you were, then the ability to move this structure back and make it more conforming than more...
The board has that option to ask that of you.
But we were only tearing down the front piece of it. If we raise and reconstruct, it's only
Well, I
the
mean-
front.
All right.
That's the
That's
information.
what I'm saying about the front part of it.
Yeah, and I think we're probably not on the same page here. Raise and reconstruct is you demolish this building and you put a new one in its place.
Okay.
Okay?
We may end up tearing down the front in its entirety if it just is crazy.
What part of the front are you speaking about? Just that front wall or the whole
This-
front part of the structure?
This front house part is the part that's got the really thin walls. The leg that comes back away from the street is newer. It's an addition to the original.
On the plot plan, could you show the board exactly what part of the house? Sorry, Chairman.
So this is the main box closest to the street is the original house that we may end up taking that whole part of it down. But the leg that comes back
That's
here,
That's- yeah,
we
that
don't
is-
want to tear down.
That's more than I was understanding, and may have been just my own weakness in understanding. I thought it was the front wall, not the main house, with the exception of the addition.
That's why the clarification was necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah. All right, I think we're going to probably ask some more questions on a basis. Tricia, your hand up for a second.
And this isn't a question, this is just as a board member. I just have a concern that by doing this wraparound wall, it's kind of trying to circumvent or raise and reconstruct. Something's telling me if the condition of the main house is this bad, it's not going to withstand construction. It's not going to withstand an excavator going in there and digging to put footings in, put a foundation in, and then withstand all of the work that's going to go into putting a wall around it. If it's that thin and it's in that, tough condition, and we're talking about a little thicker than this tabletop. To me, it's circumventing the whole raise, reconstruct, and usually when we're doing a raise and reconstruct, we're trying to get them to come into compliance on some of the setbacks. We're almost increasing setbacks on this, which is way outside of the box.
Dennis?
Bill, if you don't mind, at what point are you going to decide whether it's viable to keep the existing structure? After the walls go up on the outside?
No, we'll take some of the shingles off in a couple different spots and look at the way the condition of the way those boards come into the girts at the top and bottom.
It seems to me that's information that we could have going into this now. Like, that's not something, I'm just not comfortable right now approving this, knowing that a simple exterior test might determine whether that structure can exist or not.
But it means we have to take apart a lot of the house, and then leave it wide open for I don't know how long before we actually get around to doing it. And the house, it needs repair, we don't want to make it any worse. And I don't think it is a raise and reconstruct because we're not tearing the whole house down.
You're taking down, oops, sorry, Dennis.
No, I think we're going the same way here, is that the area of our, or at least my greatest concern is your front yard setback here. And if that's the area that might be coming down, what I want to see is the possibility of, if not coming into conformity, at least becoming a little bit more non-conforming. So that's my real hesitancy here, is that there's just a lot of unknown right now that just came out in the last couple of minutes.
So in either situation, the front yard setback is not going to change from what it is right now? Because we're never going to be tearing down the whole house.
You get a rope?
Has no wheel.
Well, again, just on this new understanding, I think, that we have, if you were to go in and find that you couldn't save the front portion of the house, which is the majority of the house, and it's the oldest part of the house, and you had to come back in, at that point, would you be willing to modify the permit to make it more conforming? I guess it's following up on what Dennis was saying. I mean, this is a big undertaking. It's costly, et cetera, and we're not knowing whether or not you're ripping it down or you're repairing it has an impact on you, but it also has an impact on the board. Because if it would, I mean, tearing down the front portion of it would be substantially different than, may not be considered a total raise and reconstruct, substantially different than what we're looking at now, which is putting walls around the outside of this and a bit of a foundation. And I think that's what we're trying to get at. In the past, when somebody has come in and said, we're going to repair it, and then it's raised, the board's been upset because it did have the opportunity to make something more conforming. So if you went forward with this, but found that you did have to tear the front part of that house down, would you be willing to come back to the board at that point with a new design?
I'm hoping to get it blessed so that we can just go forward. And the 6 inches closer to the street only happens along this wall here. It doesn't happen around that little porch that's sticking out the front. That'll be the same setback.
No, again, I think we're not communicating very well, the board and you. But what I think the board is saying is that if you wound up ripping this house down, the board might say to you, go back 2 feet to make the front yard setback more conforming. I'm not saying that they would. They might. And I think you're missing that point, that if it was a total raise and reconstruct, the board might say, okay, looking at, the lot coverage, all of these things, we might want to move in a different direction. So the big unknown is whether or not you're ripping the front of that house down. Sorry, anything further that you might share?
No, I just want to make sure it's understood that what the board is saying, so he can make a good determination and possibly might want to think about it and come back. It's up to you.
We have to know what we're voting on,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, well, and again, what Mr. Zelinski is saying, we need to know what the request is. And the request right now is to put walls around this. I don't sense that the board is willing to say, put walls around it, but if you so choose, you can rip the front of it down and rebuild it. I don't think the board has come to that understanding. Am I paraphrasing the board correctly?
So if you do vote for us to put walls around it,
Yeah.
and we get to a point where we're going to rip it down, do we start the whole process?
It would be a
all over again?
modification of the special permit.
And we do the whole waiting period, just start all over again at that point?
Yeah.
So right now, we're going to intend to wrap walls around this house, and if we get into it and realize that we're just getting into deep trouble by going forward, we're just going to have to go back around? Come
Mr.
back
Chairman,
over.
may I make a suggestion?
Yeah, please do.
May I make a suggestion that you continue this till after the other hearing so that the applicants
Yeah.
can go out in the hallway and talk?
I think that makes sense, because I think just another piece of information is, at that point, you will have already done your new foundation.
But this is going outside the existing foundation.
I thought the new walls would be sitting on a new foundation that came out about 6 inches more.
Right.
And the-
Before we actually pour that foundation,
Okay.
we'll have
Okay. All right.
made some intelligent choices.
Is it of any value for you to chat about it, and we'll come back to you later in the evening?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You want to hear that?
Yeah. I mean, I want to preserve, I want to try and preserve the main structure. We had talked about sheeting it and strengthening from there. There are some beams that are going to have to come out, but I wasn't intending to rip out the whole front of the house. I mean, you guys have seen this gorgeous old wood, I'm trying to save that.
Okay.
But maybe we didn't quite get that squared away. But yeah, our intention is to sheet the house and go from there, or at least the forward half of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you understand, Eric, what we're saying is that
Yeah, no,
if you get into it...
That wasn't, no.
Okay.
I think we're on the same page.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm not 100% certain about that, Eric.
Well, go ahead, please.
Okay. If tomorrow you pour the new foundation and all of a sudden your walls start crumbling and your foundation starts crumbling, you're back here the next day to reapply to modify that permit. At that point in time, we can make you come into compliance with your setbacks, which means you wouldn't have what you're looking for.
Right, I understand that, but,
And that's why we're questioning the integrity of the building now.
so having looked at it, I mean, like I said, I know there's some trouble spots, but I do think that it's totally savable. At least the main beams are 12 by 12s, beautiful old timbers. And so one way or another, I want to keep what I have now. It's been there for 250 years or something, you know? So, one way or another, I'm going to make the sheeting idea fly.
Okay. And just to really clarify, Bill, this is, I was asking you earlier about the structural capability. You're saying that as a registered architect, you can do that. You're saying that to the best of your knowledge at this point, structurally, it is sound
Yeah.
and we are able to do what you're proposing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Bill, how did you test that, just for my lay knowledge? How are you assured that that is going to be able to be held up? What's the rationale behind that?
When a building's under construction, it's not experiencing the same dead loads and live loads as you have when you're actually living in it.
Right.
So you can brace things, put strong backs along walls that you think are weak, and temporarily hold it together enough to do the rest of the work.
So you're going to support the sill where it needs to be supported, the foundation that's existing, you're going to support that from the inside, and you're going to put lally columns up to hold the beams up of the main structure of the house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ironically, in 1968, I lived in a house that was a wraparound to what you're trying to do now. That's why I'm concerned about all of the construction that's going to be involved.
Well, it helps that the new floor system is thicker than what's there now.
Mhm.
Gives us some latitude
Okay.
for holding that forward time.
All right. Thank you.
Bill, while you're there, one final question, okay? You mentioned about the grade change. Is that going to also change the height at all of the building, or you're just grading up from the street to have that one step out?
We'll be grading up.
Okay. All right. All right, I think we've got ourselves at least an understanding here. So is the board prepared to close this hearing or not?
Get ready for us to close it.
I'm ready to close.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, please do.
Make a motion to close the case.
All right. Mr. Zelinski, and who has seconded that?
I'll second it.
All right, Mrs. Favuli have made a motion to close this hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. All right. I think we've somewhat had our discussion, so if anyone wants to take some action, we'll be open to that. Sorry?
And I would just keep the board in mind that it will take a unanimous vote.
Yeah, takes a unanimous vote. And here are a couple of things I'm sorry, I might as well throw out. You've heard me ask the questions about the extra bedroom, and this is a concern for me in terms of turning this into a rental or a dwelling, et cetera. So I would strongly suggest that the board consider a deed restriction on this as well, so that that accessory building does not get used as a rental. That when we look at the bedrooms, it will be a maximum of 3 bedrooms on the property, 2 in the main building, 1 in the accessory not to be used, anything other than accessory not to be a dwelling. So those typical things that we do when we see an accessory structure, but I think a deed restriction would be critical on this one. I'd also think that an as-built would be necessary, given the fact that we're talking about basically up to the 25%. So those are just some thoughts that, before we jump into it. Okay, so, action?
I will make a motion. Oh, God, I'm not really comfortable granting this. So I can't make a motion to grant it unless somebody else wants to make that motion.
I wish they had talked about it and represented it, because I have to agree with Trish, I'm very uncomfortable. And I don't want to see their project go away when they could adjust some things and get on the same page and have a favorable outcome.
I just see quickly down the road, the wraparound not working and coming back for a modification, and, oh, the foundation is already poured, we've already invested X, Y, Z in money into it, we really financially can't take the foundation and move it back and to come into compliance with the setbacks. I just see it putting us in a situation that,
You
really
guys
bad
voted
people,
on it.
right, you allowed it to happen, you put the cart before the horse and allowed it to happen, and now, what do you do now? I don't know.
It's our responsibility to keep that from happening.
Those are my exact thoughts going through my head.
On the other hand, the risk has been exposed. The applicant knows of the risk. We told them that to come back, it would be a modification, and all the potential that the board might have at that time. So, although you're right, somebody could certainly come in and say, we've got the foundation, we've invested this, it hasn't been without the risk being identified.
I would feel a lot more comfortable if the load calculations or there was something more sound.
Again, the way I look at it is, we've got a registered architect, we've grilled him over the fact that, does he have the ability to make those determinations? He has said yes. So I guess what I'm looking at is, we've done our due diligence on this.
Okay. Then I will make a motion to grant. And let's put some conditions on it. And if you don't want to vote for it in favor, then so be it. But let's make this very tight.
We have a motion. Is there a
Second that.
All right. We have a
Okay.
second. All right, let's do the conditions then.
Per plan submitted December 1st, 2011, dated and drawn 11/30/2011. That's for the architectural plans. Per plan submitted January 12th, 2012, for the site plan. As built, not to exceed 25% lot coverage.
Her
Deed res-
testimony, it
Yep,
wasn't
go
going to
ahead.
go above 24.92 approximately.
I know that, we're talking
You want
about
to go up right up to, you want to just,
6.
we're so tight with the, between 20 and 25, like, I find it hard to believe we're just being cavalier now by letting someone go exactly up to 25.
All right, so not to exceed 24.92.
Right?
Okay, I have no problem
Okay.
with that.
You know how tight we are on that. Every single
Absolutely.
one that comes in, 20.2% we're tight on.
Absolutely.
on the other hand, you know, and I agree with you, and I'm right there with you.
Excuse me.
But on the other hand, when it comes down to what does that mean on the lot and the unusual aspect that we're going to be coming out by, you know, inches and et cetera, you know, 24.92 is as much as 25, and, you know, we're doing the as-built, and, you know, no one would ever see the difference on that. And I don't want to do it so, it's not a workable plan, so, you know, I don't want this to be, okay, we're approving this, but we're going to get you, you know, by point.
I don't think it's a want to get you, it's
No, I
a
agree.
testimony.
But, you know what, if you look at the calculations for everybody, the 10 houses around it that are over the 25%, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are 25% or over, one's 32. So I don't think the 6 inches, I think that's pretty de minimis for a situation like this with the lot coverages being as high as it is for the surrounding. And you know I'm the first one to say something on
Because we
that.
won't use the word de minimis on that.
Right,
because
don't use that, please.
But, you know, it is minimal, and I guess, you know,
Okay,
there's money
we
to
can
be
move on, I can go up to
spent.
25.
Okay, so we definitely do the as-built.
Do the front setback, no less than 5.1.
Right, the setback, the front setback no less than 5.1, maximum of 3 bedrooms on the property, 2 in the main building, 1 in the accessory building. The accessory building not to have a kitchen, cooking facilities, not to be used as a dwelling, no rentals in the accessory building, and a deed restriction to that fact.
Now, in the interest of the applicant, we should define cooking facilities, because downstairs, there are cooking facilities for coffee beans. I don't want
No, I've inspected that.
Okay.
It's
The
dismantled.
functioning part of it, part of the structure is still there, or equipment, but the roasting area has been removed. Eladio and I both went out and looked at it. I apologize, but on your 6th one, it's a deed restriction.
Right.
7 is no cooking facilities. The deed restriction,
Actually,
what did you,
I thought I did them in the other order. The deed restriction was the last.
does it?
Only because the deed restriction would be no, none of the things above, no rental, no cooking facilities.
Well, okay, no cooking facilities and then deed restriction.
Right.
What did you want the deed restriction exactly to say, that it's accessory only, it can't be rented?
Correct.
And in the, when I say cooking facilities, when I condition it for the board's information, I do put no stove, no microwave, no hot plate, including but not limited to those things.
Yes.
So anything that can prepare food.
The other, I think it was a question that was asked of Dennis or Scott, I forget, but no bedrooms or sleeping accommodations in the basement. And I think we have several findings that we need to look at as well. That in terms of the 25% coverage, or the lot coverage over the 20%, that it is in keeping with the neighborhood, that the changes that are requested do not create a shadow effect or within the standards of
240-69E.
4069E. Also, I think findings in terms of the intent is to wrap a wall around this without raising
And
the front
reconstruct.
building. Also a finding that the applicant has acknowledged that it would require a modification of the special permit in order to come back if that were not the case. And a final finding that this is a modification of the prior special permit where there had been the conditions imposed on the accessory building. Okay. I think, and then our usual findings in terms of 240-216.
Okay, if the board would just allow me to repeat those findings, because I want to make sure that you wanted it tight. Her plans, and I'll put the dates that Tricia wanted, as built, that will show exact setbacks and lot coverage. not to exceed 24.92% lot
But we went to the
coverage.
25.
We
You
went to
did
the
go back to the
25.
25, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I'm running out of room, you guys. Front setback not to exceed 5.1 feet, 3 bedrooms, only 2 in the...
Not to be less than, right?
Not- Yeah,
Right.
Not to be within the 5.
that's how it comes out, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'll phrase it.
Yep.
3 bedrooms on subject property, 2 in main, 1 in accessory, no cooking facilities in accessory, and I'll elaborate on these. Deed restriction, that the property not be rented, and that there's no cooking facilities, and it is
Accessory.
accessory to the single family only.
Right.
Right.
No bedrooms or sleeping accommodations in the basement. Is that all that the board had?
I think so.
I think you got it all.
Under the deed restriction, did I hear you say the property is not to be rented, or just the
I'm sorry.
garage is not to be rented?
My proposal was just the garage.
Correct, okay, that's
The
one of them, I wanted to make
accessory
sure.
structure. Did I not say that?
Because you could still have borders.
I just wasn't sure I heard correctly.
Yeah,
Right.
not to be
Yeah.
rented, it's accessory.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So as
Anything
long
else?
as I've got everything, and I did get the findings.
Yep.
Do you want me to repeat those, or you'll?
No?
Okay.
No? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Excuse me.
Yep. That's right.
One more thing. The Board of Health recommended that the
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, we
Board
should-
of Appeals not sign off on the building permit until he has met the requirements that the board is asking regarding the chicken coop and the issues around that.
Okay.
So can I add that as a condition?
As a condition, I'm glad you caught it before we voted. Absolutely. I apologize. And Eric did say that he had already been aware of that memorandum. All right, with that notification, all those in
You didn't
favor
have a
say...
second yet, did you?
I'm sorry?
Did you get a second on that?
Yes.
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 Dennis.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a unanimous vote of the 4 members. All right, good luck on that project.
Thank you very much.
All right, please don't come back.
I'm sorry that we're saving the house. It's worth it.
And I apologize for doing that.
That's okay, you're trying to do something that not
I'm
everybody
glad we
is
all get on the
interested in
same
doing.
page. Okay. Our next application, and this is a new application, is application 3-12, Cloisters at 66 Cary Lane in West Falmouth. I'm going to ask the clerk to read this into the record first. And our voting members are our regular voting members and Mrs. Johnson.
Okay.
Application 3-12, being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 48 of the Massachusetts laws, you are hereby notified that Cloister 2 LLC of Darien, Connecticut applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a modification of the special permit 1990 to construct additions to a garage on property located at 66 Cary Lane, Falmouth, Mass. Publication dates, January 24th and January 31st, 2012.
David, welcome.
Yes, David Newton, CH Newton Builders, and representing my client. This application would to modify an existing structure that is under special permit, built about 22 years ago. Does everyone have a copy of the plan?
We do.
Put them up?
Unless you need it.
You might want to put it up so you can point out.
Yeah.
If the board has questions.
Oh, really?
So you've seen these plans. So what we want to do is, there's an existing structure that does not have these dormers up on the second floor. So we want to add the dormers to give more headroom. And right now, there's currently 1 bedroom living area. There is a kitchen. So a microwave, a uncounted fridge, an ice maker, and I said microwave, and an ice maker, and a sink. So I know, I just heard you say that in an accessory building. There is no, that you can't have a kitchen or a microwave. However, 22 years ago, we were able to put it in. As long as we didn't rent the building, the family has never rented the building. Now, it is not in the deed, and if that's a requirement, we'd be happy to do it, because I don't have any intention of ever renting it. So my question is, can we put the microwave back in or not?
We'll get to that. Why don't you make your presentation, David? We'll ask some questions, and I'm sure we'll have a dialogue.
So then, if you look at the floor plans on the first floor, on the lower level, right now it's currently 3 bays, and as we know, using 3 bays because of setback, everything conforms. And it is below the, excuse me, the 18-foot height restriction. So now what they're proposing to do is, if you look on the plan, stack the inside and create a living area down the lower level. And the way the property is set up, the living and main house are actually three spaces. They've outgrown the main house. So they want this, and they're currently living in this structure on the second floor. So it's, they just want to enlarge it a little bit. And that's what we're...
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask the clerk to read referrals from the various departments, and I'm sure David will have some questions.
Building has no comment. Conservation contains stormwater runoff on the property. Should be no contribution of runoff down drive into Cary Lane. Engineering, this application was reviewed only for impacts to public right-of-ways and utilities. Cary Lane is a private way. Any connections or alteration to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. Board of Health, the scope of the proposed project would include the addition of habitable space that would be considered new, previously uncounted bedrooms. The provision of Title V would be applied to determine if the existing system, together with the system depicted on a Holmes and McGrath plan in the file, will satisfy the volume requirement for the total number of bedrooms if the Zoning Board of Appeals permits the project. No comment from Natural Resources and no comment from Planning, and there's no correspondence.
Questions? Patty, you want to start?
Yeah, I have a question. Just generally, if this is under a special permit, now it's not required to have a special permit for the reason they was asked for 22 years ago. Does the special permit go away?
No. Once a special permit, always a special permit on the property.
Even though the reason they got the special permit is no longer a reason?
The structure still exists of what they got the special permit for. They're modifying it, so the special permit stands.
And they're not modifying that special permit, they're asking for a new one, right?
It would be a modification.
Right. It says modification right on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Just the other thing-
Modification, you're right.
Yeah, the other
Okay.
thing too is that if, for example, there were no special permit, they would never be allowed to build a second dwelling on the property anyway, as long as it didn't exist, if it didn't exist prior to May 15, 1959.
May 19,
1959. So there's a dilemma there as well that I'm sure the board's going to address anyway, but it would be probably more problematic if they didn't have a special permit and were attempting to build a second dwelling.
All right, but they have, this is now it's pre-existing.
The structure is.
The structure and the fact that there's a kitchen in it pre-exists. So,
What I'd like to do is, I try to answer that question rather than getting into a discussion about
Okay.
that right now.
All
Let's
right.
ask David some questions, gather some more evidence, and then I know that will be a topic of discussion, okay? I promise you.
well, I have a hard time reading the septic plans here. Is that a whole new septic system or just a link?
It is. Right now, there's an existing septic system that was designed. You can see it in the light shadow. You see it on the- right here. This is the existing septic
Yes.
system that serves this and this
That,
with the existing bedroom, the way it is. So Mike McGrath recommended putting in a smaller system to handle the 3 bedrooms here that are proposed. So we're just adding to the existing system.
You're adding like somewhere.
Right up.
Oh, here's the connection,
Yes,
right
that's
there, I
right.
see it.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
So-
that answers my question.
That will answer the Board of Health's question too.
Okay.
Because what they had was originally, we had, Mike designed a 2-bedroom system and not a 3-bedroom system. So there was some confusion in Sri, so asked me for the right plan. We had submitted the wrong plan, it was a 2-bedroom. That's why David carried on the second question. Well,
Okay.
This will solve it.
All right, that answers my questions.
Dennis?
How many bedrooms are there total?
Right now?
Right now in proposed?
There's one.
No, total on that the system is serving.
One in the accessory
In the
building?
main house also? Let's see, there's, I believe it's 6 right now. It's 5 or 6.
Including the one-bedroom existing?
Right. The system was designed to handle that one bedroom when it was done 22 years ago.
And the proposal would be 8 or 9, based on what you just said.
Yes. And I'll verify that.
Actually,
No,
6 or
It
7.
would be 7 or 8.
No, I'm sorry.
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Just says it would satisfy, the plan would satisfy the volume.
Trish, if you don't mind, the sheet on the right there,
Building permit sheet?
yeah, can you just read from that or get it to me and I'll read from it?
Yeah, sure. Here, there's another one here, too.
Okay.
I don't know where you're going with it, so.
Okay, so this is the building permit?
Originally?
Correct, from
Should have been 19.
February 7th, 1990.
90.
It says one of the conditions is no cooking or eating facilities allowed. When were they put in?
Oh, back then, what it was, as I said, you couldn't have a stove
Right.
back then, so I've done.
That's not what it says. It
I know
says
that's
no
not what it
cooking
says.
or eating facilities allowed,
But I built a lot of these.
and not to be used as a dwelling unit.
And what they would do is we were allowed to do it under a special permit with a microwave. We just couldn't have a drop-in, we couldn't have an oven or a cooktop. That was back then, 22 years ago. We were allowed to have a microwave, but now it's changed, so.
Right.
They were allowed to have it?
Back then, they were.
Yeah.
Okay, so the definition of...
Nobody thought of a microwave oven as a cooking
Right.
facility back then.
Well, and now microwave ovens are so,
Yeah,
you buy them, they're just.
Right, you just nuked it.
they can do anything now.
So we have an existing one, when I was asking for, if we put the deed restriction in, that it won't be rented, and can we have the microwave?
But it also says not to be used as a dwelling unit. When did it start being used as a dwelling unit?
Since it was built. I mean, it was always planned to be lived in. It had a bedroom, it had a living area. I think what they're referring to there is a separate dwelling to rent.
Yep, they are, because it was approved for a bedroom and a bath.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were considering a dwelling unit, not to be a dwelling unit because it didn't have cooking facilities. If it had cooking facilities, then
Then it would be a separate dwelling.
Right.
Okay.
But we went over and we got the final sign-offs and, with the microwave, so I understand.
And you're not creating any non-conformities or extending any non-conformities? Thanks.
Tricia?
I don't have any questions.
Scott?
No, sir.
David?
No, I just had a question on the bedrooms, but I think I was answered.
Well, that ultimately, the Board of Health will have to sign off on that anyway, correct? So whether it's 8 or
Prior
9,
to.
doesn't matter right now.
Right.
It's
Prior to, and he did not see the correct plans. David is aware.
Because again, normally 8 or 9 wouldn't be an acceptable answer, but
And
since it's
again,
already kicked off to health.
again, because of the upgrade, that will go to that, and the room count in the main house. The ratio again.
David, I don't have any questions. I have some comments when we get to discussion, but Sri, any questions? Okay. Anyone here interested in this particular project? Okay. Let's have a bit of a discussion then before we close this down. Anyone want to? If not, I will.
I do.
All right.
I think we're all going to the same spot, so go ahead, Dennis.
No, ultimately, I think I'm okay with it if we condition it correctly. They certainly have the property for it. They're going to increase the septic. My biggest concern is the cooking facilities and how we want to handle that, because we don't want to be creating a separate dwelling.
That's right. We just did a condition on the prior, each one stands alone, but at the same time, we're saying one can't have cooking facilities, make it in a separate dwelling. Next time we come around, because they have this here, I mean, they're, granted, it was a long time ago, but they've made this into a dwelling. This is its own dwelling with cooking facilities and everything. So I have a hard time allowing that to continue.
I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah.
Because it pre-exists, it's
Yeah.
been there, nobody's complained.
Right.
I don't have as much of a problem with it as you do because it's already there.
It's there.
And if we can deed restrict
Yeah.
to not allow it to be used as a separate dwelling,
Which you have people.
that's right, we have more than once, I
Right, we
think.
have done, yeah.
That I would be okay with it.
This is a project that's troubled me, only because I think in many ways we went out to protect those multiple dwellings on a single lot that was sort of unprotected based on a lawsuit and a decision by a Superior Court judge. And I can understand that what was then is not what is now, but going from what was not a dwelling unit, as a bedroom, into something that is clearly a dwelling unit, not only just a dwelling unit, but a three-bedroom dwelling unit, with a fireplace, with a living room, with what's there now is a room above a garage, which gets used, and it has what we would define as a kitchen now. That's one thing, but to make it into a small house, to me, is troubling. On the other hand, as Patty says, there's plenty of room there, there hasn't been a complaint, it's in an area that if somebody was going to complain about it, you'd hear about it. And so maybe the common ground is the deed restriction to prevent it being used. But I did want to share with you that I am troubled by
The flip
this.
side of the point is just because there's nobody complaining doesn't mean it's okay to start going outside of the box and allowing stuff. Well, there's no complaints on a lot of issues that are totally illegal, so it would be okay if they came to us for a special permit and we permitted it?
I think the difference is
Turn the garages into houses.
this isn't necessarily non-complying, though. If it had been a situation that it was non-complying, therefore illegal, at the beginning, I might have been perplexed even more. But the fact is, and Sari did have a conversation with the building department, this is what it was. It wasn't considered cooking facilities. It really wasn't considered a dwelling at the time. So I wouldn't go so, I think I'd get there if it were considered non-complying. But given everything that we know about it, it's not non-compliant, it's just non-conforming.
And the
When you're
building
looking-
permit does state that it will not be a dwelling, and you find it and condition it, just like you do everything else, that it's accessory to the primary. But if the board does approve this, I think it's very important that you do deed restrict this completely in perpetuity, so that even anybody who purchases it finds before they purchase it that it is
It's
not
not
a dwelling and it cannot be rented.
Yes, well,
Could it be sold as a condo or with a deed restriction?
Not with a deed restriction, it's accessory to the primary only.
And I have,
And that would also prevent any possible subdivision as well.
You condition that it can't be subdivided.
See, that's one of the other parts. I don't know the size of that, but
That's fine. It doesn't have a deed restriction now.
it does not?
No.
Okay.
We'd be
Hold on.
happy to provide
Okay,
it.
hold on a second, Patty. Scott had a question.
is there gas run to that dwelling there? I mean, that
Accessory structure.
accessory structure, right, so pardon me.
There is, yeah.
There is gas to
And
it?
it's, when you say accessory structure, if you want to go down and look at it, it's a real living space. I mean, it's-
We've all looked at it. It is an accessory structure because your main house is the primary structure. This is an accessory
Yeah.
structure.
But it is a living, it's not just a room above the garage. It was a very nice apartment, they had a water issue. Anyway.
Right, but it is becoming a living room and 2 additional bedrooms. It's going to be what many houses are going to be.
If we condition it without the microwave, that'd be...
Well, let's have our discussion, okay? Because I don't want to create something that we're never going to be able to keep on top of anyway. Patty, you had a question?
I have another feeling about this. This, where they're making the additional space already exists there, and the addition that they're here for is a garage.
Is a garage, right.
Right now, it's a
Right.
garage.
Right.
Right.
So I feel like, they're not making, they're using space that they already have,
Footprints there.
which makes it a little less bothersome. Up there, but that's
Yeah, they're adding the dormer, they're filling out where that
The dormer.
porch area is. Those stairs will go.
yeah.
enclosed.
Could I add something else that we were planning on doing too, is also putting a nice hedge along the street to give a little more screening, which I think would be nice for the neighborhood. Give some more privacy
Along the front?
on the road.
Quite frankly, that's not anything that I really care about imposing upon them. I mean, it's a beautiful location. I wanted to
Oh,
hear
yes.
very completely the fact that, this is going to become really a dwelling. There's no question about it. Under today's definitions, it will be a dwelling, and whether or not
Yes.
the restriction of it to
Accessory has
accessory
to a primary.
and only for the family use and the deed restrictions and no subdivisions, does that get you close enough to being comfortable with it? Again, I will say to me, it is. It was troubling for me to begin with, but I think, given all of the location of it, that it's not becoming, a larger from the, street situation.
No
In these
opposition.
restrictions.
There's no opposition to it.
And, to say no cooking facilities, come on, we're never going to be able to, let's be realistic about this.
Wait a minute, are you
Look at
saying?
the outdoor grills that people buy.
Are you saying take out the words "no cooking facilities"? That opens the
Leave 'em.
the
No.
whole thing up to a stove.
No.
I don't believe a stove was proposed.
No, we wouldn't put a
No.
stove in, but that was
You
back
can-
then.
Everything up to
Good.
the stove.
You can condition it just be a microwave.
Yeah.
You can
I
condition
would not want
that.
to see it be expanded to
Mm-hmm.
a stove and an oven.
Then I suggest you can, if the board approves it,
Condition.
condition a microwave, but I would still deed restrict it.
And we agree with it.
Because that's going to help you in
No, future.
not policing it and not renting it, so. And it clears up what was done 22 years ago, because it should have been deed restricted 22 years ago,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Okay.
great.
Board ready to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
You have Mrs. Johnson on the second act. Mrs. Faboli, Mrs.
That was
Johnson.
quick, Patty.
All those in favor of closing this hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. All right, action.
I'll make a...
Excuse me one second.
Yep, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, part of the audience is, I don't even know if this is your expertise, but she wants to know, I overheard her, wants to know why we care about the cooking facilities. You might want to explain that.
I did, I asked if anyone had any question. Why don't we finish what we're doing?
Okay, sorry.
And then I'll explain it, okay, for anyone that has a question, okay?
You ready for motion?
Right.
I'll make a motion to grant application 3-12 for Cloisted 2 LLC.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
Mrs. Faboli, Mr. Murphy, conditions.
Okay. As usual, per plan submitted architectural and...
Excuse me.
Yep.
I just make it for architectural only in the second condition, that the board finds that the plot plan needs to be revised to remove those stairs and update the lot coverage.
Yes.
And
We'll go by the architectural plans and that this will be modified. I call it.
okay, please do that.
And when do you want the updated plot plan to be?
Prior
submitted?
to building permit issuance.
Okay, so you got that as a condition. Maximum of 3 bedrooms in the accessory structure. No subdivision of the property,
Deed restriction.
deed restriction.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Deed restriction with accessory to primary.
To the primary.
And to be used only for family.
Not to be rented?
Right.
Family use.
Yeah. Dennis, do you have something on cooking?
No kitchen, but a microwave is
Yeah.
allowed.
No cooking
No.
facility.
Well, there's a kitchen in
No.
the plans.
Just say, right, because
Doesn't have a stove.
it's not the kitchen, it's the cooking facilities. Anybody is allowed to have the sink, the refrigerator.
Right, so how do you want to
So
write that?
the only cooking facility allowed shall be a microwave oven, no stoves. How's that?
That sounds good.
Does that meet what you guys are looking for?
It says
Yep.
kitchen, but there's
The
no
only thing should be a
stove. It's just
microwave.
All right, and as far as findings, I think to sort of back up what we're doing, that this accessory structure, as it is today, had been approved by the building department for its current use.
I'm sorry, I'm still,
Sure.
do you mind just waiting
I don't
one
mind at all.
second? If I don't write this down now, what's in my head, I'll forget it. All right, I'm sorry, Matt. You were on findings?
I just
or-
wanted, yeah, I wanted to move the findings about the, that this had previously been permitted by the building department for its current use.
Permitted and signed off.
Right. Okay.
You have the final sign-off there?
And subject, of course, to the health department in terms of the septic system and our usual findings under 216.
And a finding that it remain accessory to the primary only, even though the deed restriction
Right.
will say that. So you want the finding for that as
Absolutely.
well. And that it cannot be rented, isn't that?
Yes.
That's right.
Do you want that in the deed restriction or a separate condition?
It was in the deed restriction.
In the deed restriction.
not to
No
be
renting of
rented.
accessory,
Right, and it was for
structure.
family use only. The other finding, I think, that sort of swayed folks was that the structure itself, the footprint is not becoming any larger.
Footprint is large.
Is.
A little addition on the back.
It's in the back.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
just-
Just a minor
Right.
increase.
It's under, I
Eight
think it's
by-
192 square feet or something.
slight increase. But everything is, the property is adequate, you want the
Yep.
24216?
The 216.
Can I add something too about? the
Probably
deed-
not,
deed
unless it's something
Something to
that,
help you. On the deed restriction, you might want to say that it cannot be rented separately, because regarding, what if, you know what I mean? So if
That's what
it
we
ever
read.
sold, you could rent the whole property, but you don't want to say that they could rent that too.
We did that with the very last hearing as
Should
well.
be separate.
Clarified that.
Where am I? Excuse me one second, I apologize.
Not that they don't have any plans to do
No
that.
separate renting.
well, we put a restriction on there that it's for family use only, so, you know, I don't think it's going to,
I think the deed restriction should clarify. I agree with that statement if the board agrees with it.
that's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, then the whole thing out.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. There was a question, I think that, excuse me, folks, you were questioning about our interest in the kitchen. A kitchen makes a structure a second house, basically. And the bylaw doesn't allow for two houses on the same lot. So that's why we get very concerned about that. Okay? All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, David. Good luck on that. All right. Our next application is 4-12 for Ann Tillman. Hi, Ann. You can come on up. The clerk's going to read it into the record first, okay?
Okay.
And then you can give us a little summary of what you're trying to do. So we'll start with Tricia, all right?
Application 4-12, being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 48 of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Ann S. Tillman of East Falmouth, Mass. appealed the Building Commission's determination pursuant to Sections 240-66C3 of the Code of Falmouth that subject property located at 83 Bittersweet Road, East Falmouth, Mass. is an unbuildable lot. Publication dates January 24th and January 31st, 2012.
Mrs. Tillman, welcome to the board. And I know you're appealing the building commissioner's decision. We have a lot of information, so if you just want to briefly summarize what you're doing, we'll ask some questions, okay?
Very good. Right. I have a lot that I wanted to sell, and I was surprised that it was, to find out that I got a letter of unbuildability from Mr. Gore. And so from that, I researched it through. I had originally had it under protection in section 240-66C2. And after researching the property, I'm going to kind of go over this letter, I would agree. I believe that it was in the agricultural B zoning as of January 1st, 1981. I have since discovered that there was a rezoning article, number 37, that changed the zoning from agricultural B to agricultural A as of April 8, 1975. Therefore, as of January 1st, 1981, lot number 18, which is the number of the lot, was zoned agricultural A and not B. The significance being the zoning bylaw would require 20,000 square feet of land area in an agricultural A district as of January 1st, 1981, to be a buildable lot under that 240-66C2. The Falmouth zoning bylaw would allow for a building permit to issue for the lot by special permit issued by the Zoning Board of Appeals if the lot was in separate ownership as of January 1st, 1981, which my research leads me to believe it was, under section 240-66C3. And I have that here if you'd like me to read it.
We have it.
Good.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, terrific job, very good. We're going to see what the various departments in town have to say about it, and then we might have some questions for you, okay?
Thank you.
No comment from health, no comment from planning, and the only correspondence we have is from the building commissioner.
Okay.
And that's it.
Want to start with any questions?
No.
Oh, and I apologize again, the voting members and Mrs. Johnson are the ones that are voting on this. Scott, questions?
No, sir.
Dennis?
What is the exact size of the lot?
16,074 square feet.
Thanks.
Patty?
I have no questions.
David? No. Okay. I have a couple, all right? I just want to make sure that we have it in the record. Is it correct that you're not in a water resource protection district?
It's correct.
Okay. Is it correct that you're not within 300 feet of an estuary?
I'm quite sure.
Okay.
I won't say 100% positive, but I haven't found anything, and though I've researched it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you could say yes.
Yes.
Okay. And is it also true you're not in a coastal pond overlay district?
Yes.
Okay.
They are.
Is that true, sir?
The map will show it.
Okay. But it's got to be within the 300 feet of the estuary within a coastal pond resource
Right.
district.
It is, they are.
Yeah. Right, you're in a coastal pond overlay district, but not within 300 feet of an
That's
estuary.
what I thought,
Right, it doesn't say anything about a coastal pond overlay in C3. It's the water resource and within 300 feet.
I had to read that twice.
Or, yeah, of the coastal pond
Right.
board, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I have no additional questions. We're going to see if the audience has any comments, all right? Is anyone here that would like to speak on this particular project? Okay. All right. Suri, any questions?
I have just one other question for Mrs. Tillman. Did you, there's town water on this street, on Bittersweet? There's nobody on Wells here?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Suri, anything? Okay. Board have enough information? All right, motion to close?
Make a motion to close.
Second.
Mr. Zelinski, Mrs. Johnson, all those in favor of closing this hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. Okay, action.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
I will make a motion on Appeal 4-12 for Ann S. Tillman to overturn the building commissioner's determination.
I'll second it.
Okay. Mrs. Wu and Mr. Zelinski. I don't think there are any conditions necessary, but I think the findings would certainly be that it meets the criteria set forth in 240-66C3, based on credible evidence. All right. Anything else, Suri?
No, does the board mind if I just make findings about the lot being
Yes.
the adequate size according to?
Exactly. Yep.
So,
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. Thank you very much.
You did a
Nice
very nice job.
Great, thank you so
You're the
much.
quickest one so far. I'll stick around. We might have somebody to beat
I'll
you.
tell you, I learned an awful lot.
That's good.
Just having this, and with somebody's help.
That's very good. Thank you.
You're entirely welcome.
Oh, yes.
All right, our next application is 6-12 for 32 Buzzards Bay Avenue in Woods Hole. I'll let her read it into the record for us, and then
Application 5-12, being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A, the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Daniel Gomez Abans and Valeria Balvac of Woods Hole, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 243A of the Code of Falmouth to acknowledge more than one dwelling on a lot and to make renovation to said dwelling on property located at 32 Buzzards Bay Ave, Woods Hole, Mass. Publication dates January 24th and January 31st, 2012.
Daniel, it feels like you're a permanent member of our audience all the time, so it's good to see you finally before us.
That was practice.
All yours, yep.
Okay, I'll try to be quick.
Thanks.
This is new to me, so you can go easy on me. The house I'm talking about, here's an old picture that was, this house has been there for over 100 years. This big one on the end. And this picture shows, you can tell since there's no trees in Woods Hole that it's old. An interesting thing is there's a fire escape on the back that got lost, and so we're asking for the back just because it required egress. But it's interesting that it was there 100 years ago. So, the house was intended to be an apartment house, apartment building from the beginning. It was originally for the, we have the original plans. The architect drew it as 4 identical units in a row. Sometime before 1940, there were 2 basement apartments, one on each side. The house was built on 2 different lots, so it's 2 different buildings, 2 different lots. The building department considers it to be 2 different buildings. It's on 2 different lots. So for the rest of this presentation, I'll just talk about the left half, which is 32 Buzzards Bay. We have a good relationship with Judy Parker on the other side, but I think just for simplicity, we won't talk about that side. It's on a different lot. It's a different owner. On our side, we have 3 apartments. We have eyewitnesses and residents that have told us they were living there before 1959. The previous owner, his family has owned it since 1941, and they believe that there were 3 apartments since 1941. This house is actually included in the Falmouth Historical Commission's inventory of historical properties. There's some interesting history to it. Various different scientists from NBL lived there over the years. The most famous was Henry Herbert Donaldson, who became famous studying the brain of Laura Bridgman, who became known as the first person blind and deaf to acquire proficiency in the English language. This is one of the biggest houses in the neighborhood, so I think it's really defines the neighborhood and predates zoning, so I hope that you acknowledge the historical significance. And I'm sure it doesn't meet any of your requirements because it has zero setback, but I hope you don't make me tear it down.
I've worried you so far.
So the new, I can walk through the floor plans. I don't know if that's...
Just summarize, Daniel, what you're trying to accomplish.
We're trying to basically preserve this house. We're trying to bring it up to building code in as much as we can. We're providing an egress out the back of the middle apartment, which doesn't have one right now. That's required by the building code. It's going to add 50 square feet to add that stairs. We didn't find a lot of other alternatives for that egress. So we are also replacing the deck, the ramp on the side with a deck that is approximately the same area, although it's slightly smaller. It's actually 189 square feet instead of 191.5. So we're maintaining this house, we're maintaining the look of it. The street side, we're fixing up the cedar roof, fixing the porch so nobody falls through the floor of the porch. We're proposing to tear off an ugly addition on the back and the second story enclosed porch. And we'll restore the original profile of the gambrel roof in the back. So there's very minimal change. We're not proposing any change to the use. We're maintaining the existing bedroom count, the existing uses, 3 dwelling units. And I believe this is consistent with the Falmouth Zoning Code, in particular to encourage housing for persons of all income levels, to lessen congestion in the streets. All the residents on our side work in Woods Hole, so we're not driving around to our place of work. We're walking. Facilitate the adequate provision of transportation. This is within walking distance of the ferry, the bus, Cape Cod bus, Bonanza bus, shuttles. I think it's an appropriate place for some density. And it's compatible with the neighborhood. There are many multiple family dwellings, multiple family lots in this neighborhood. It's hard to walk down Millfield Street without this. I think the single family homes are a minority. There's several in this neighborhood, and I think that, as you saw earlier with Gura's house, there's quite a high percentage of coverages on the lots on this neighborhood. We're above 25%, but we're proposing no significant addition, so I guess you'll tell me what you think of that. I'll just stop here.
Okay. I'm going to ask the clerk to read the referrals from the departments, and then we'll ask you some questions, okay?
Building Department, documentation and permits show a 4-bedroom unit building. No permits for the basement unit are on file. Conservation, footprint of the proposed deck and stairs shall not exceed the footprint of the existing ramp into the conservation's jurisdiction. Engineering, no alterations are proposed in the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way would require a permit filing with an engineering department. Board of Health, septic system depicted in the survey plan in the file for this property was approved for a variance by the Board of Health. No comment from Natural Resources, and Planning has no comment. We have a copy of the variance for the Title V in the file, and I'm not going to read them, but there's many letters from neighbors that are in full support of this. There's also a number of letters from tenants who have lived back here in this house going back many, many, many years. There's an appraisal from 1982 saying the amount of units that were there. There's a copy of a lease. It just keeps going and going. It's very well documented, the history of the rental here. That's it.
Scott, do you want to start us off?
I just want to know how long it took you to get your supporting documents. That's my only question, because it was like that, and it was very impressive. Very, as far as I'm concerned, you did your homework, so...
We started around New Year's Day.
Thank you.
It's a close
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very old established neighborhood.
Trish? Dennis?
I do, I have a couple. Daniel, any changes to the basement?
We're proposing no changes to the basement at this time.
I didn't see any plan for that. I count 7 bedrooms total. Is that right?
Yeah,
There's
this
4
is an issue I'd like to clear up. We had the health department, we had a new septic at the transfer of ownership a couple months ago. The Falmouth Health Department came out to check out the house, inspected the entire house, the basement apartment. I had a conversation with Scott McGann. He told me that the basement apartment he was satisfied with. It had 2 egress, had plenty of windows, above grade, headroom, clearance, everything. He was satisfied it meets the health department's requirements. And he did go in there. He counted he applied the rule that with more than 8 rooms, you count the total rooms, divide by 2, and round down. You got 13 rooms, divide by 2, round down. You got 6. It has since been realized, actually just today, we realized that rule doesn't apply because it's a multiple family house. So he actually applied the rule wrong. So we actually went over there today. He said, you know, there are 2 rooms here that are less than 70 square feet. So really, either way, you have a huge septic system. It's plenty big. So I think it's a confusing thing. I would like to clear it up. I'm happy to have a condition that there be 6 bedrooms. That's fine. There was no intention to deceive anyone. It was a mistake by the health department that number was 6. Maybe it should have been 7. If he'd measured all the rooms, it might have been 6 again. So it's fine with me to have a restriction to make it 6. There's no trickery here. If you would like, I have a drawing of a 6-bedroom version that I can show you. Would you like to see it?
Not right now. No, I don't want to necessarily have you change your layout if it was a mistake by the Board of Health. If that's it, you might be better off getting that cleared up and then going with your whatever layout you actually want, which in this case, what was proposed was the 7. The reason I brought it up was I was one that found in the file something that said it's only a 6-bedroom septic system. Okay. And then I counted up 7 bedrooms.
Right.
So that's the reason why I bring it up. So if that's the case, you might be better off getting that cleared up and ready to
Yeah,
stop.
I think since we have children, we have to move into this house. I'd rather just get it done tonight. So if that means we have a restriction that it's 6 bedrooms, let's do that.
I'll weigh in on that.
Yeah,
That variance is not a mistake. It was an error when the way Scott calculated it, but that variance is only good for 6 bedrooms.
That's what I thought.
Yes, and the plan that he has proposed, he is aware of it. One of the rooms is under the bedroom count, but it still appears as a bedroom. So he and Scott, and he has since then redone it to where there is only 6 bedrooms. And I think that's all he's asking for, is that a condition be made that meets that. But that variance is based on the septic system.
Okay, that
And it is for a
It's
6
actually the variance set in writing,
bedroom.
6 bedrooms.
Mhm. And it should be up to the applicant what bedroom,
What room he wants as a bedroom.
yeah, whether he combines 2 small rooms or puts it in a different unit, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think if you
So-
put a restriction or in your findings, say we find that there's 6 bedrooms, I think that will satisfy everyone. I don't think there's any misunderstanding. When we get a building permit for this, there will be 6 bedrooms that will be clearly marked.
Yeah, because the room ratio doesn't count, because these are units themselves. If that was all one dwelling, then they could use that ratio. But the ratio has to be made on each dwelling unit, and that was the mistake made. But the variance is based on the septic.
Okay, so what we're back down to then is...
6 bedrooms.
So maybe now we should see that sheet that you revised.
So this drawing removes this wall, removes the wall. Moves it down now. This wall to this room is now open to the hall, this is a knee wall, sort of a little work area that's a new hall. So if you want to enter that into the record, we can just replace that sheet there.
Just want to make sure they get stamped before we...
And I'd just like to say that this drawing was made today after the conversation. So if the board does approve this, and they may want to change the floor plan once they get in there, that it possibly administratively approved.
Yeah, that
So that
makes
he's
sense.
not held to
Yeah.
a last-minute thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
You said there's a knee wall in there.
Yeah, it's a knee wall right here.
Yeah.
Could we, before we start to discuss it, just ask more questions, and then we'll...
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's fine.
No, I'm glad we got the clarification of the variance of the septic system, so if you're done.
Yeah, thank you. I think that was my big concern, so I'm satisfied with
Okay. Patty?
I have no questions. I like
We'll
things.
just do the questions. David?
No questions.
Okay. Excellent job. You're starting to use too much lingo on the board, though. I'm worried that you might want to take my seat.
Yeah.
But what are the number of dwelling units in the building?
3.
Okay, 3, and basically they're 2 bedrooms each.
There's a 1-bedroom
A
basement.
1-bedroom, okay.
There's a 2-bedroom on the right, and there's a 3-bedroom on the
Okay,
left.
so three dwelling units, okay. And that's the same number of dwelling units that everyone told you from all of your research had existed, that there were 3?
The letters from the historical people,
Yep.
they're all consistent.
Okay, excellent. That's the only question I had. Sri, did you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
We have worked so hard on this and rushed everything
Yeah.
through and trying to get him hooked up that
Did you
with
have
the
any questions?
Board of Health.
Back and we'll discuss it. No, sir. Okay. I know you don't. All right. All right. Board won't have any discussion? You ready? You have enough information? You want to move forward? What do you want to do?
I'm ready. Motion to close.
Second.
Mrs. Favuli and Mr. Murphy, motion to close this hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. Okay, action.
I'll make a motion to grant application 5-12.
I'll happily second that.
Mrs. Favuli, Mr. Zelinski. Conditions.
6 bedrooms max.
6 bedrooms max.
Are new plans submitted?
Plans to be administratively approved by the administrator.
Proposed plans.
Proposed plans.
For 6 bedrooms, correct?
6 bedrooms.
Instead of a knee wall.
Right.
Plot plan dated January 25th, 2012.
And again, what we're here is approving not only the renovations that you're requesting, but also to acknowledge that there is 3 dwellings on the single lot. Go ahead, sir.
So no more than 3 dwellings also, did you say
Right.
that?
Mm-hmm.
No more than, could we make a condition that the site plan be approved as to front and side yard by the building commissioner, so he's not held to,
The front yard?
with that in the proposed deck that he's got?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I think it's in his best interest to protect the lot and the board,
Recognize
not to
the front
approve a
yard.
variance that isn't there. Okay?
And I think the findings, it does meet the requirements of 240-3. The exterior changes are minimal. It has no basic impact on the neighborhood.
Substantial.
Meets all the requirements of 216.
Board of Health variance, finding on the Board of Health variance.
Yep. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. Excellent job, Daniel.
Yes,
Thank
great
you
job.
for coming as often as you have, and don't be a stranger. Keep coming back, okay?
Maybe you could give lessons, because your presentation in your folder was so absolutely complete. It was
Yes.
very nice.
Don't forget your picture there.
I'm sure you did.
And I said no.
That really was a very, it was probably the nicest presentation
Daniel,
in
don't
terms
forget
of
your
the
picture.
documentation. All right.
This is the front page.
Do you want to sign it and give it to me?
That's the road heading in this direction.
Yeah. Okay.
We still have an open
The
meeting.
board has a little
Hello.
bit more information, a little bit more work to do.
Come on, Patty, let's go.
Patty?
Patty, this still working?
Still working.
Yes.
I
All right.
just wanted to ask, I just wanted to look at that, make sure I love it.
All right. Next on the agenda are the minutes.
Yep.
I will make a motion to grant the minutes from February 2nd, 2012, Hunker, Malloy, Johnson Holmes, Breen, Garin.
Is there a
That's motion.
second?
Do I
I'll
have a
second it.
Mr. Swansky, any discussion?
I'll abstain on a
Oh, who made the
I was-
motion? I'm sorry.
Trish did.
I did.
Did someone else make that motion? If he's going to abstain, I'll make
Yeah, I
the
probably should. I
Scott will
wasn't
make the
here.
motion.
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm abstaining.
And David will obviously not participate in that vote. Okay, we have no administrative reviews. Joint meeting, as you know, I've been trying to get a meeting with the Board of Selectmen. In attendance at their meeting Monday, it became known that the meeting is going to be March 12th. Although we weren't asked about that, so I want to make sure that everyone's going to be able to be there. It's a Monday night, it's at the Board of
Monday night.
Selectmen's
Matt heard at the selectmen's meeting, that's how
what I
he
just
found
mentioned.
out.
We still haven't been notified yet, though.
Yeah.
What time?
We could get bumped.
I don't know what time. Let's
We can
start.
just come whenever we want.
No, we'll hopefully find out.
Walk around the quorum thing. Okay.
It's usually held at the beginning of the meeting.
Sometimes.
Well, the last couple have been, so.
At 6:30, actually. They were at 6:30 with the planning board.
Well, yeah, but that was because...
We've been on at 8:30.
I don't know, I just want to say I don't know what time it is.
Right. I'll let you know when I find out.
Yeah, but the things that we talked about before were two items, and that was a professional review of the zoning bylaw so that it can be updated, more user-friendly, and not necessarily changing the zoning bylaws, but just updating the code. The other was, and this was the same discussion that we had on October 18, 2010, but nothing ever happened with it, was the possibility of meeting with the multiple boards that issue permits and seeing if there was a way of streamlining the process. And if you remember correctly, the Board of Selectmen endorsed that, but it never got followed through on. We had provided all the information of contact individuals, et cetera. So the idea would be, I think this board, we've discussed it, we see so many things that applicants go through, whether it's site plan review, through everything. And is there any way of streamlining that process? We, as the Zoning Board of Appeals, can't go changing that, but the Board of Selectmen do have the ability to pull folks together and have a discussion about it. So this is our opportunity, if there's anything else that this board feels would be valuable. I would hope they would also talk about our operations and how we do things, et
Or
cetera.
who our liaison is now.
And perhaps who our liaison is. But in any event, anything else that the board would like to discuss with the Board of Selectmen? As usual, what I will do, because I think there may be a new member, if not two, I'll provide them in advance with all of the things that we have in terms of our procedural rules, hearing process, et cetera, mission statement, so they know what we're up to. And I'll just ask for those two things to be on the agenda.
On that agenda, on the joint meeting?
Right. Did you have something that you wanted to bring up?
No, so ZBA procedural rules.
Oh, no, I'll just get them all of that in advance for if they want to know about it. The last time, I still have the agenda from the last time we got together, and we actually did review all of those things.
Right.
When was that, Matt?
October 18, 2010. What it was,
What are you supposed to meet once a year?
annually according to the charter, and we always ask. This will be the
Multiple times.
third year, so.
Third year without,
Second, we met in 2010, we didn't meet in 2011, hopefully we'll be meeting in 2012. But at the time, we had talked about the mission statement, the policies and procedures, the hearing procedures. These were all fairly new, we had revised them, so we wanted to make the board aware of it.
That's right, they were new.
We had given them an update on our compliance with the revised open meeting law, which I'm happy to say that this board remains in total compliance, thanks to Sari. And we gave an update on the non-hearing activities of the zoning board. We had joint meetings with the planning board at that time. We had worked on the wind turbine bylaw. We had worked on the nutrient management bylaw. And we did have requests at that time, the assignment of liaison, so we'll ask that again, and the request to host this meeting of all of the permit granting regulatory boards. And the Board of Selectmen did agree to that, and we provided them with all the information, but nothing ever happened. And the other was just to give us general feedback, and I think as certainly an appointed board, but also a regulatory board, that feedback would be valuable. Just as a quick comment, I've been going to the Charter Review Committee meetings, and Kevin Murphy had given some information recently at one of those, and he was talking about boards and the ability to remove members from boards. And of course, I spoke to Kevin and I said to him that, in Mass General Law, there is a provision to remove zoning board members. It may not be for others, but that I really stressed how important it was to know what the board does and what its members do before you take a step of removing, and quite frankly, before you take a step of appointing. It would be nice to know the workings of the committee and its members and its makeup, et cetera. So that is just a little update on that. But so it's sort of almost the same agenda that we had the last time, but maybe this time we'll get some action.
And who was the liaison then?
Carrie.
Carrie Murphy was, and then it became Mary Pat
Was the
Flynn.
liaison.
Actually,
Then
Carrie
Mary
came,
Pat Flynn became the liaison in 2011, and to the best of my knowledge, there have been no reassignments. We just don't know.
No.
Carrie came, though, that's the last time we saw our liaison.
David Breyer's been here. the
And David
last two
Breyer
meetings,
has
Yeah.
come 2 hearings in a row. All right, so that's the 12th, and again, if I'd really like very much for everyone to be there so that we can have hopefully a good, healthy conversation. All right, and there still has been nothing further that you folks have wanted to talk about with the planning board, so I haven't moved forward on that. And then the only thing left is whether or not you have anything new for the
March
1st of March in terms of the agenda. And if not, as usual, if you do have something, as long as we get it within 48 hours of the meeting, that would be fine.
I'll have an update of the approvals sent to you before then, the administrative approvals.
All right. We've got plenty of time left, if any.
Motion to close.
We don't need to. I always say, with nothing further to come before the board, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
David, thank you for your participation.